They said a house was just bricks and walls. But for me, it was a prayer, a promise, a shield for my daughter's future. I gave her a home for her wedding, hoping to protect her from hardship. I had no idea I was building a battlefield. My name is Ellen, and this is the story of how I almost lost my daughter to love, to silence, and to people who never deserved her. Her name is Claire. She was the kind of girl who always found the good in people. Even when the world showed her the worst, she still chose to see the best. When she brought James home, her boyfriend, I saw the glow in her eyes, the softness in her voice. I wanted to believe he was the one. James was polite, quiet, always smiling in a way that said, "Don't worry, I've got this." But behind that smile, I would later learn, was a man too weak to fight for her, and a family too entitled to no shame. Claire begged us to support her relationship. So we did. My husband Daniel and I poured our hearts and savings into building her a home. Not just any home. A villa on the edge of Silver Ridge, with a garden she could grow old in and windows that caught the morning sun just the way she liked. We thought we were giving her a fresh start. We didn't realize we were handing over the keys to invaders. They came before the wedding, unannounced. James's mother barged into the house, her voice echoing down the hall like a warning. "We'll take the master bedroom," she declared, eyes scanning the marble tiles like a queen inspecting her palace. "Claire can handle the chores. She looks strong enough." I stood there stunned. Did I just hear that right? No greetings. No gratitude, just assumptions like the house, the space, the comfort belonged to them. James said nothing. He just lowered his head like a child caught stealing cookies. His father lit a cigarette in the living room on our custom furniture. Then, right before our eyes, he stubbed it out on the wooden side table. Burned a mark that felt like a scar on my trust. They inspected every room like realtors on a power trip. His brother and sister-in-law walked in behind them, barely saying hello. They were already discussing where their child, little Noah, could sleep. And then came the sentence that made my blood turn cold. "We'll move in by next week," Mr. Miller said casually. "Put the deed in Travis's name. The house should stay in the family." The family? Which family? Claire looked like someone had slapped her. But she didn't scream, she didn't cry. She simply stood there, frozen like her entire world had stopped spinning. Daniel reached for my hand. "Let her speak first," he whispered. "If she doesn't find her voice now, she may never get it back." Claire's voice shook, but her words cut sharp. This house was a gift, not a hotel, not a handout. It's not for your entire family to move into. James's father scoffed. "You think this house is yours. It's my son's wedding house, which means it's ours. And as his wife, you'll cook, clean, and take care of us." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. His mother smirked, almost proud. "Sweetheart, you should be grateful. Most girls dream of marrying into a family like ours." But Claire didn't blink. "Then why are you acting like beggars?" Silence for a second, no one spoke. Then Curtis turned to Claire, voice rising. "Apologize." "To who?" Claire said, her voice steady now. "To the people who walked into my home and called me a maid. Or to the man who stood there and let them." Curtis reached for her wrist. She yanked it away. "Don't touch me." That was the moment everything changed. Curtis's father mocked her again. "If your daughter was so perfect, she wouldn't need a house to trap a man." I lost it. I stepped forward, fists clenched. "You brought nothing to this marriage. No house, no job, not even an engagement ring. And yet you stand here like royalty. Your son is nothing without us." Curtis flinched, but he didn't deny it, and that was the final straw. Daniel raised his hand and punched Mr. Miller in the face. The room erupted. Curtis's mother screamed. His brother ran. Curtis, frozen, pale, speechless. I didn't even have to say another word. They packed up and left that night. But the story wasn't over. 2 weeks later, Claire came home with tears in her eyes. Curtis had sent her an email, a spreadsheet. Line by line, he calculated every dollar he claimed he'd spent on her. Coffee, Ubers, fast food, $28.97.36. "Pay me back," he wrote, "or I'll show up at your workplace." We thought it was a pathetic joke. But the next morning, we learned just how serious he was. Curtis and his parents showed up at Claire's office. They stood in the lobby holding signs, screaming, "Gold digger. She used my son. She's pretending to be rich." In front of her coworkers, her boss, her clients, Claire stood there, silent, humiliated, until I stepped in. I held my voice steady, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Since you want repayment." I pulled out my checkbook. "Here, $3,000, every penny." I tossed the check to the floor. Then I looked at Curtis. "Now let's talk about what you owe her." Gasps, whispers, laughter, because we all knew. Claire had paid for everything, and the world finally saw it too. After that day at the office, we thought it was over. We paid him. We cleared his name. We gave him dignity he didn't earn. But Curtis, he wasn't done. A few nights later, Claire came home with takeout in hand, but her expression was wrong. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. She just placed her phone on the table. A new email from Curtis. This time, no spreadsheet, just a plea. "I know I messed up. I should never have listened to my parents. You were the best thing that ever happened to me." Claire stared at me, eyes heavy. "This is the third message." I nodded. "Then silence is your loudest answer." He didn't stop. Soon after, an anonymous social media account began posting edited videos, blurry photos, twisting the story to make Claire look like a liar. A user called her a real-life gold digger. The clips made it look like she used Curtis for money. We recognized the footage. It was all from him. Curtis had cropped himself out and spun a narrative, hoping to ruin her name. Claire's hands trembled. I just wanted peace. And he wants power, I said. But his power is an illusion, and it ends now. That night, we contacted a lawyer, issued a legal takedown, demanded the platform track the account's IP. We also filed a civil harassment report. We weren't just reacting, we were protecting her. But Curtis took one last step. He mailed her a handwritten letter. At first, it looked like a goodbye. I miss you. I think about your smile. I know I lost something I'll never find again. But then the last lines revealed the truth. I have nothing left. If you don't come back, I don't know what I'll do. It wasn't love, it was emotional blackmail. The next morning, we went straight to court and filed for a restraining order. Claire's hands shook as she held the letter. Mom, I know this is right, but why do I still feel exhausted? Because healing is heavy, I whispered. But you're already lifting it. The court approved the order. Curtis was legally banned from contacting or approaching her. Finally, we thought this chapter could close. Weeks passed, and Claire, she didn't just survive, she began to shine. She took on extra work, presented at a regional conference, represented her firm. She stood on stage in front of investors, CEOs, entrepreneurs, and she didn't flinch. Her voice, once timid, now carried weight, grace, precision, authority. At a networking lunch, someone introduced her to a man named Ethan Parker. He didn't come on strong. He didn't try to impress. He simply said, "Your analysis was brilliant and honest, rare combination." Then he left. No flirtation, no games, just respect. The next week, Claire received a letter, a simple thank you note. Inside was a book on leadership. No phone number, no expectations. Just, I thought you might enjoy this. For the first time in months, she smiled without effort. They met again. At first, over coffee, then events, then long walks that felt unhurried. One evening, as he drove her home, Ethan parked by the curb and turned to her. I don't know how you feel about me, but I like you, not because of your resume or your resilience, but because when I'm around you, life feels real. Claire was quiet, then she nodded. I don't know what the future holds, but I want to find out. He never pushed. He never asked for more than she could give. And soon he invited her to dinner with his parents. They didn't ask what her parents did. They didn't ask if she cooked or wanted kids. They asked her, "What excites you lately?" It was the first dinner she'd attended where she wasn't on trial. And when we met them, Ethan's father pulled Daniel aside. Your daughter has presence, That's rare, and it's valuable. We didn't cry, but something settled in our chest that night. A peace we hadn't felt in years. But good things rarely go unnoticed. One afternoon, a candid photo of Claire and Ethan at a gala surfaced online. Curtis saw it. That night, Claire stepped out of work and found him waiting near the building. His eyes were hollow, his voice like smoke. "So this is it. You leave me and run into another man's arms." Claire didn't flinch. "Walk away, Curtis." He stepped forward. "You were already seeing him, weren't you? You just used me." "Say one more word," a calm voice interrupted. From the shadows, Ethan stepped forward, not angry, just present. "If you take one more step toward her, I'll call the police." "And so will she." Curtis's jaw twitched. "You think you're better than me." Ethan's voice didn't rise. "I don't care who's better, I care that she's safe." And in that moment, Curtis saw it. Claire wasn't the girl he left behind. She wasn't weak. She wasn't waiting. She had moved on into a world he could never enter. That night, Claire and I walked along the old lake trail just like when she was a child. She looked ahead, her steps steady. "Do you remember how I used to pick stones by the water? Each one was special," I smiled. "You used to take them home to wash and line up." She laughed. "Back then I thought everything was worth keeping." She paused. "Now I know some things are meant to stay in your heart, not your life." I looked at her. She no longer needed me to shield her. She had become the shield. She whispered, "I used to think I needed love to feel whole. Now I know self-respect is louder than romance." "That's enough. That's more than enough." I took her hand. We didn't say anything else, because sometimes healing is quiet. Sometimes walking away is the loudest stand you'll ever make. And this time, she walked forward for no one but herself.